All right, guys. So I am Miss McDonald, of course, your teacher, and this is Vanessa. Say hi, Vanessa.
Hi guys.
So Vanessa and I actually were neighbors. She grew up right across the street from me and her big family. And, Vanessa came over and I helped her with some of her math stuff. And I've watched Vanessa grow up and her twin sister. So Vanessa's just here to give you guys a little insight into what it's like growing up through high school and then after she moved out on her own. So Vanessa, how old are you?
I'm 19 years old.
19. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up, Vanessa.
So, at 2 years old, I was adopted. I was taken away from my birth mother and adopted. And I was adopted in a family of 8 where 4 others were adopted and they were free biological children. And it was a multiracial family. And so they were white family. I had some white siblings and I had 2 other Black siblings, which one of them was my biological sister and another Black sister. And so we are all from Florida, and we recently, well, about 15 years ago, we moved up to North Carolina because of my dad's transfer up here because we needed a bigger house and Florida was too expensive, especially to add on another space because the space in Florida is just cramped. And so we moved up here and found a bigger house. And growing up for me, it was hard because I felt like I was different because I had white parents and I was just like confused because I was just like, why am I Black? And I'm just like, and they're white. And I was always confused about that. And so it was always emotionally hard for me to accept my situation and where I was and who I was as a person. And it wasn't until I was in my teens that I realized, oh, I'm adopted. And it came as a shock to me because I always thought, well, maybe babies come out looking different than the others, something like that. But I always had the thing in the back of my mind, like something went on during when I was a baby. And I didn't know what it was. And so during my teens, it was emotionally hard. I was dealing with a lot, especially with the abuse of my twin sister. Growing up, my twin sister and I, we were always close, shared everything, did everything together. And then we learned that she had a bipolar disorder, and that really drew a rift between our relationship. And for me, more emotionally, because I was being abused verbally, emotionally, and physically by my own sister. And I was also being physically abused by my brother during my high school years. And so, like, I didn't talk much. I always held in my feelings. And I didn't even talk to my parents. I didn't even hardly open up to my parents about anything I felt. I just did it behind their back. I just did anything and everything I could, thinking I was independent and I could do anything I wanted without getting caught or anything that I wanted to do because I thought, okay, I'm a teenager. This is what teenagers do. So I'm going to just do it. And so growing up, I just had an independent mindset and a very really rebellious attitude with my parents. And a lot of it had to do with my emotions were all over the place. And because I felt like I didn't know who I was as a person. So doing this type of stuff would make me feel good and less guilty of what I really was doing, which was also causing more rifts in the relationship I had with my family.
So let's see. Because now you're not living with your parents, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you move out of your parents' house and why?
So when it was last December, I was 18 years old. I was sneaking my boyfriend in, and it's something you guys should never do because I didn't think about the risks of my boyfriend getting shot or me getting shot. And I got caught with having my boyfriend in the house, and it got into a huge argument. Everything escalated because I was trying to keep my dad and boyfriend apart. It's not like my boyfriend was gonna fight. I was afraid of what my dad would do because of how angry he was. And my dad, it was happening at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he told me I had to go. And so I packed up what I could, and me and my boyfriend went to his sister's house, and it was a half-made house, so no installation, no nothing. It was just cold in there, just real cold. It was just it was a very ghetto way of living, which was something I was not used to. Everybody was sleeping on the floor. Everybody was just, there was no furniture in the house. Everybody just had their clothes in boxes or in piles. And it was just kind of not clean. Wasn't the best environment. The environment also had domestic violence with his sister and her own boyfriend. And so I was scared, and it made it emotionally more hard on me and mentally hard on me because I was not used to that type of living, especially with a lot of people who were ghetto and like from the hood, and it was a lot of drama during where I lived there, and it was a lot of hurt and pain because that was the first time I had met his family. And so I wasn't prepared to have met his family in that way, being kicked out and having to come and be like, oh, I got to live here with you guys because I got nowhere else to go. And the hard thing was when I got to know them, it's like they were playing sides. So they pretended they liked me, but I realized that they were talking behind my back, making fun of me, making rumors about me. And they were trying to split me and my boyfriend apart. And also, it was also hard because they didn't want me over there. They told my boyfriend, you can stay at the house, but she can't. And he said, if she can't stay, then I won't stay. And he would have to give them money just for me to stay there because I wasn't allowed to be there for some reason. I don't know, because they didn't like me. But it was so hard because it was cold in the house. You're sleeping with like 2 jackets on you, bundled up, freezing, and then it would get like 30 at night. And so we just sleeping sometimes with no blankets. And then I was walking too. So I was always used to my parents driving me around or driving me where I could go. And I even had my own license, but I didn't have my own car yet. And so walking was a new thing for me, and his whole family did it, so they were used to it, but I wasn't used to it. And so we were walking like 30, 40 minutes to another house or his brother's house. And sometimes we would sleep at his brother's house. We would go to his sister's house, and we were just going back and forth. Or I would walk to the store, walk with his sister to the gym. And then sometimes we would even walk to the hotels, and we were just going in this whole walking phase that I wasn't used to. And so I was tired, I was exhausted, I was not mentally in a good place because I started doing bad things like smoking weed heavily and drinking. I wasn't drinking heavily, but I was definitely smoking. And I was very depressed. I was more depressed than I've ever been in my life. I was having breakdowns, and it was exhausting. And then I found out I was pregnant. And so my boyfriend, we were trying to find a place to live and trying to keep a roof over our head at the same time, which both involved money. And so it was just very hard, but he was always there beside me. And it's amazing when you really love somebody, what you do for them. And there are times when we were walking, he would just carry me, and if we didn't have enough food, I would just eat while he he wanted me to eat. And so he would go hungry just for me to eat and buy food for me to make sure I was eating because I was pregnant. And so.
So you're not working right now because when's your baby due?
My baby's due in October.
And that's so exciting, guys, because I get to see this little baby all the time. I'm hoping that she will let us take care of her baby. I live with my mom. So I'm the only child, so I just want to kiss and hold and love on this little baby when I'm off work. So guys, if I come to class and tell you about me keeping Vanessa's baby, this is who I'm talking about. All right, so now you said you guys found a house that you're renting.
Yes.
Okay, now from the financial piece, because this is a business class that I'm teaching, how much is rent?
Rent is $450.
Okay, do you know around how much the light bill is?
It's about it. I would say about 110, 120.
So you guys are paying for your rent and light bill, and that's like 500 and let's say
Mm-hmm.
$550 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
how much money do you guys have coming in a month? Do you know?
We have about, let's see, depending on how many hours he gets out work, it would be like between 1,200, 1,400, because he also goes to plasma. So that's money. He gets paid for doing that. And he does side jobs that his cousin gives him to cut grass. And so he gets $100 out of the lawns that he does over there. And so I would say roughly about 1,200 to 1,400 a month.
So he's working pretty much full time, and then he's got these little side things that he's doing just to make some more income.
He does, yes.
Okay. Now, do you guys have a car yet?
Yes, we are busy paying off a car that we currently got from one of my close friends. And so we're paying that off every month, and then the insurance.
Okay.
So
Good.
we just gotta get the insurance right, but for now we're just paying off the car. And so, yeah.
Okay. So like for my kids that, after they graduate high school, what do you think that you would tell them before they leave their parents' house? What's one thing that you would suggest to them about money, like just finances? Because, my kids, a lot of them have a cell phone, they might, their parents might be getting ready to give them a car. What would you tell my kids in relation to money when they get ready to go out on their own?
I would say save, because you don't know when you are ever in a position where you need to have money or get money. And that way, if you have money saved up and you're in a position where you need it, you'll have something to go back to. Because getting kicked out, I didn't barely have anything in my bank account because I had just left my job at Burke's. And so my boyfriend, as soon as I had moved out with him, he started paying for me. And so even though it's good, it's always good to have that extra hand and, get something for yourself, do something for yourself, but make sure you're always good financially before you go out and do something big, because I didn't realize how expensive I was until I started paying for my own. And so I would just say, just be prepared, because you got the scams, and then you got people who will steal from you, people who will use you and just do anything to get money out of you. And I'm not saying to give your money to them because they want you to, but just make sure you have extra. You always have something to go back to if anything bad happens.
So
just always be
like with my kids, like, because you guys have a brand new apartment, and like you were used to your parents and you had a bed, y'all had a washer and dryer, and a lot of my teenagers don't consider that stuff. They just
Yeah.
go to the laundry room, you know, their parents might still do their laundry. Who knows? So where are you guys as far as like furnishing your house? Like when you moved into your apartment, was there anything inside?
There was nothing inside. There was nothing inside. That day we had moved in, we had spent another night in the hotel, and I told my mom I got an apartment, and the first thing we had gotten was a bed. And she had given me a crock pot, and I cooked our first meal in there. And we had bought cleaning supplies because we wanted to clean the whole house before we got furniture. And so really we came in with nothing. We just got an air mattress and we just slept on that for a good while. And then my mom had hit me up and was just like, there are people from church who want to give you some furniture or give you some things. I still had some of my furniture at their house. And so I just took what I could and what I wanted, and it just started out from there.
Okay. So how long have you guys been in your apartment now?
I would say we've been in here for a little over 4 months.
Okay. Now, over a 4 month period of time, how much stuff have you guys been able to get?
We have gotten a table, a couch, and a crib, and a changing table. We got the baby stuff, high chair, crib, bassinet, and we've been able to get my dresser, and just like the simple things, like a couple chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And so just basic things, really basic things. And then we have like a sofa. And
so you guys don't have like a television or because streaming like Netflix, that kind of stuff is big for my kids.
yeah, we have a TV, but it's just something he plays games on his free time. So nothing like cable or anything. So if
no
we do
TV.
No, the only TV is the Tubi we have on our phones.
So when you guys want to watch a show or a movie, you have to depend on your phone.
Yeah, we do. It's a free app called Tubi that we watch movies on. You know, get it. We go out on a date. We go to the theaters and watch a movie. And so all we really watch is movies on our free time.
And then when you guys go to the movies, it's Tuesdays because it's $5 Tuesdays.
It's $5 Tuesdays, yeah.
You see, that's the stuff that, you know, kids, they don't think about because they haven't had to.
Yeah.
And I know that this would be a great time for you to share your story, because I know what kind of kid you are. You're a great kid. And I knew that, you know, that you would be willing just to share your story and what it was like to move from your parents' house, being in not a perfect home life, just like anybody's is not perfect, into trying to go out on your own. So what are some, to kind of wrap this up, what are some expectations that you had while you were still living with your parents about the real world versus like what it's actually like?
My expectations were, oh, this is easy. I got this. I'm going to have this amount of money. I'm going to do this for this bill, pay for that bill. And just like, it was just a very not a very constructed plan. I just thought, well, I guess whenever I have a bill, I'll just be ready for it. You know, I was just like, and I guess whenever I save this, it'll be for that. But you have bills on top of bills on top of bills coming in every month or so, and it's really a responsibility. You really do have to grow up in the real world and like just really change your mind, like how your mind works. You're not a teenager anymore. When I told myself was I was a grown up, I'm an adult, I can do this. And when I got out there, it's really, really when you realize just how little and immature that you are, you really have a lot of responsibilities that you didn't have as much when you were living with your parents. And that's one thing I wish I had been more prepared and not jeopardize my situation. But at the same time, I'm glad because now I know and I can help others because I want them to know that life is not easy out here. You know, it's not easy financially, emotionally, and mentally. You really do have to be prepared for what you're about to walk into because the world is not kind and the world will use you and suck you into their ways of thinking, and it'll have you looking like you on the streets. And so I just don't want anybody to go through that. And even though like it could be blamed on the environment they live in, you know, you can always help yourself. You can always be the bigger person and do what you want to do. Don't let anything stop you from achieving your goals.
So Vanessa, where are you going from here? You know, I know your baby's due soon, but your baby's not going to be an infant forever.
Yeah. I love doing hair. I love braiding hair. So after I get to the full swing of things with my baby, I would like to go for my braiding license. And my cousin is a professional braider, and sometimes she has these seminars, these boot camps where she goes from state to state, and it's an all-day boot camp that you can get your license by the end of the day. And so they're like 6 to 8 hour classes just for one day, and you can get your license. And so I would love to get my license of braiding and turn that into a business, an at-home business. And so that's what I would love to do once I get into my schedule and settle down comfortably where I want to be. And that's what I would like to do, be a professional braider.
Yeah. And then Vanessa will be contacting me saying, how do I set up my business?
Yeah.
So that basic math that I was teaching you will turn into, how do I run a business?
Yes. Yes.
Which is what these guys are going to be taking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good. Well, Vanessa, if there's one piece of advice, any advice whatsoever, just about life, any piece of advice that you could give teenagers growing up today, what would that advice be?
Listen to your parents. Listen to what they're trying to teach you because they've been there before. And even if my parents hadn't been in my situation, they were trying to warn me about the situation I could be in if I took the route I was going. And I did end up going that route that they were trying to warn me of. So I would say listen to your OGs because they really do know something that we don't. And we walk into the world blindfolded. And so just listen to them because I look at where I am now and I'm just like, wow, they were trying to prevent me from this. They were trying to teach me this. And life is hard. And so just count your blessings and like thank your parents while you still have time and while they're still there, because I wish I had waited a little bit longer and did things the right way so I would have been more prepared. And so just definitely don't take for granted for what your parents are trying to tell you, and try not to just think you got it all handled or you want to be smart about it, because until you get into that situation unexpectedly, you will be begging them. And, you know, I didn't beg to them. I didn't talk to them for 3 months after I got kicked out, but I was literally dying inside because I was just overwhelmed and I was depressed with what I put myself through. And so don't never put yourself in a situation you think you are ready for, because I guarantee you will not be ready if that situation comes. So I just want to tell them, just take things slow. And when you feel like you're ready, go for it.
Okay. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much, so much.
You're welcome.
And maybe sometime this year or next semester, maybe I can get you to come face to face when all this COVID stuff is over.
Yes, definitely.
But thank you.